Hello to our audience. Welcome to the program Kabbalah for Beginners. Today we're having an exciting topic, light and darkness. We've prepared a few passages from the sources. You're welcome to send the questions through kab.co.il, through the website Kabbalah for All, yes, kab.tv. Let's read from the first passage we've chosen. This is actually from Shamati, on the Shamati Article 16. We discern the day of people by the sunrise. But with the day of the Lord, in what do we discern it? The answer is, as the appearance of the sun. In other words, when the sun shines on the ground, we call it day. And when the sun does not shine, it is called darkness. It is the same with the Creator. A day is called revelation, and darkness is called concealment of face. This means that when there is revelation of the face, when it is clear as day for a person, this is called a day.
Meaning, according to the purpose of creation, the Creator created the creature in order for the Creator to be revealed to him, in order for the creature to discover the Creator, to have mutual revelation between one to the other, because the creature has to raise himself to be great, to be to the height, to the understanding, to the attainment, just like the Creator. And that was in the plan of the Creator, even before the creation. Therefore, in us, in the creatures, there are all of these preparations, and we only need to use them correctly until we reach a state that it's called equivalence of form. Just like for the Creator it's day, for me it's day. Just like for him it's darkness, for me it's darkness. So, if the Creator wants to reveal himself to the creature, then his revelation to us should be as day. Something good, pleasant, like sunrise. Something that opens up life for me. And the opposite. If he's concealed, he becomes distant. He's not felt as much, he's not understood as much. Then I feel that as evening, darkness, night, as something that is burdening, something that's pressuring, something unpleasant. So now the question is, what does it mean that the Creator is revealed, that it will be called day? And that he's concealed, that would be called darkness. What is his revelation? We learn from the Kabbalists who have already attained revelation that the revelation of the Creator is the revelation of the quality of love and bestowal, because that is the general force of love and bestowal, and that's called the Creator. Therefore, if it's revealed in a person, such a force, such a quality of love and bestowal towards everything that is out of him, that's called that the Creator is revealed in him. In the meantime, I discover myself in an inconvenient way towards it, that the quality of bestowal will be revealed, the quality of love, that I'll love, I'll bestow. I don't really yearn for that. I don't think that I'll accept that as the light of day, as life. In the meanwhile, what I see as day, as life, like it says, make my day, that's considered to be rich, to be successful, to be strong, to be healthy, to be in power, to have success. That's called day. That's called success. And for that I'm prepared to make an effort, to exert, to have such a summary at the end of the day. And what it's talking about here, to be in bestowal and in love, as the sum total of my work, of my exertion, and to call that life, to call that day, Well, I don't really find in myself a tendency towards that. I don't think I'll be happy from that. I don't even know what it is. So if I examine myself in comparison to what the Kabbalists write, that's what I feel. So what can we do? Do you have something else to read?
Of course. Regarding what you said, many times you feel that it's like you don't know how to explain what exactly has happened. You can't place your finger on it. There's this sudden sensation of darkness. And because you don't know exactly what is this thing that brought you this darkness, then you also don't know how to exit the state to the light, to good. What can you do?
So first of all, what's the correct definition of light or darkness? Either it's my definition that, and in that case each and every one of us has their own definition of good or bad, light or darkness. Therefore here it's a problem. How can we bring it all to a common basis? It's true that I always have different discernments, new ones. I suddenly feel good, I suddenly feel bad. My mood changes. Can't even put my finger on why or how. Sometimes I realize the reason, sometimes I don't. But eventually, the measurement, this ruler of what is good or bad, what is night or day, what is life or death even, isn't the same measurement as the Creator's, because we're opposite. He's concealed. If He'll be revealed, as Kabbalists tell us, He is entirely goodness and benevolent, and for Him goodness is bestowal and love of the others, and I also have to be in that state of love and bestowal. And in order to feel Him as good and benevolent, to feel it as light, as day, as success, that if I bestow to everyone that I'm very successful, my nature is opposite. Therefore, what is day for Him, for me, is night. What is good for Him, for me, is bad. Therefore, we are detached and distant from one another.
So what do we do when we feel darkness in life? I don't understand.
What do we do? I think we first need to examine what is the darkness from. Darkness from lack of success. Or darkness from the fact that I see someone who is successful and I'm not so successful. So then my mood goes away.
Well, that's the problem. I can't always say what exactly causes the darkness. I just suddenly feel this. I can't seem to find the cause and say, oh, this is what caused it. So what do I do?
So in general, we have to say that even though we don't discover the reason, the cause for this darkness, our entire darkness is lack of egoistic fulfillment. Therefore, we need to rise above the ego if we want to come out of this general darkness, like the darkness in Egypt. What does that mean? We need to eventually reach the recognition of evil, that the entire darkness, the entire feeling of darkness, is because I'm in my ego, in my egoistic desire, that I want to take advantage of the others, I want to take advantage of everyone. And then I have these unpleasant feelings. You can see all of humanity goes into despair, into darkness. People are losing the reason to live, start taking drugs, committing suicide, getting divorces, all of these things. Alcohol. Why? Because they feel lack of fulfillment. Why? Because the egoistic desire which is growing within us is demanding more and more fulfillment, and we are unable to fulfill. And then it remains in us as something that is unsatisfied, empty. And this emptiness is felt by me like I feel hunger. It pressures me and it burdens. That lack of satisfaction is called darkness. Now we have to judge him. Is it something good or bad? If eventually all of humanity reaches a state that it examines the negative sensation out of lack of choice, it checks itself what to do. I have to fulfill this darkness, this evil, to fulfill this inner void, and I can't do that. It's this complete helplessness. So what can I do? Then the wisdom of Kabbalah is revealed and says to me, there is a solution, but not how to reveal this egoistic darkness, not how to make you more successful in your ego, but to raise you to a different level of fulfillment. That you'll enjoy fulfillment that is always at your hand. That you won't depend on others. That you'll enjoy love and bestowal. And that's one thing, and it's opposite. When I reach bestowal, love of the others, bestowal to the others, then by that I become free. Because to bestow to others, I can always do that. I can always love the others. No one limits that. No one restricts that. There's no limitation there. And although I seemingly need others to bestow to them, to give them, on the other hand, they're always open for this, willing to accept it. And if I can enjoy my actions, then I'm very successful. Just like if I have kids and I have what I can give them, then I happily do give them, and I enjoy according to the amount I give. So now, the question is, if I really want to give to others, will I have something to give them? I can barely fulfill myself, and then I'm told, you have to reach love thy friend as thyself. That to the same extent that I take care of myself, I'll take care of the others. Where will I get that from? They want from morning till night to swallow up the entire world, right? So it turns out that Kabbalists tell us, the moment you begin to take care and to worry for love of the others, for bestowal to others, you begin to be filled with upper abundance, the light of Ein Sof, that same light which is called light by the Creator, the force of bestowal. And then you can give others without any limit. You become like the Creator. You receive everything from Him because you're close to Him, and you discover this entire light. The fulfillment, the abundance fulfills you because you want to fulfill others by it. And there's no limitation here, and you're immersed in goodness. And it's not the light that fills you, the abundance that fills you, but it's the fact that you can bestow to others. So by that you reach a state that your action is like the action of the Creator. You become a partner with Him to the creation, to the action. So it turns out that you enjoy the state as He does. What does that mean? That you enjoy it like He does? You enjoy the eternality, the perfection from the most sublime sensation there can be in the creation. Meaning, you become like the Creator. From here we begin to understand that love thy friend as thyself. It's a great law in the Torah. It's not just a slogan to be good kids. It's a means, it's a crane, it's a springboard that by it I can jump to the degree of the Creator and become like Him. And there I can remain eternal and infinite as He is. And love thy friend as thyself is only the means to that. And that's what the Creator meant as light.
But let's say my kids, I love them. So
Naturally.
Yes, that's true. I enjoy this.
But by that you don't change yourself. You don't reach the level of the Creator. You fulfill their deficiency, and then what do you get out of that? You continue the regular day-to-day life.
But how can I correct someone? I mean, let's say I want everything you just said. Infinite light, enjoyment, pleasure. But I don't have this love. How can I give this?
Ask. That's what we need to change our nature, to raise ourselves from the degree of our ego, this deep hole, to a high mountain, to the degree of love of others. And that's exactly what we need to change in our nature. Yes?
Continuing Oren's question, so what can I bestow to the others? What can I give them that makes me like the Creator?
You become like the transitor. That the upper one, whatever passes through you, from the Creator to them, you become like a string. That through you it flows to them. You become like a cell in the body that does the commandments from above, and then it's able to give. And that's how each and every one is. Not that you're one way towards them, but also they towards everyone else. And then it turns out that all the souls connect together to one body, that are connected with thousands of connections, and each one does his job completely. And then the body becomes a corrected body, which is the end of correction of the creation. Yes?
But the light that I transport to them, maybe to them it's like darkness.
Yes, but you can be included from their desire, from their deficiency. You build yourself by pulling to you all the deficiencies of all the entire guf of Adam Rishon, the entire body of Adam Rishon. Whereas the guf as like the body of the Adam Harishon, and we are as these individual souls in this system, in this single system, thousands of connections between one to the others, just like in our body. There's an endless number of connections, of ties, and let's say this is me here, me, and I have to be included with the deficiencies of all the rest of the body. And I have to receive the light from the Creator, the abundance, but for myself, I supply it to everyone. Meaning, I have to be included from all the deficiencies. I become like the Adam Rishon, also by absorbing their deficiencies, and but like being the Creator, that I fulfill them. Meaning, I become equal to the Creator. That's called that the Israel returned to the Creator, their Lord. So I don't just become a partner, I become adhered to Him, completely equal in everything. But first I need to attain the deficiencies of others. I need to take all of their deficiency, have to raise the deficiency above, and then to supply it to them. That's the process. But it's not simple like I'm telling you here in 2 stages. It's much more complicated. But eventually, the final result is that each and every one of us, also you, let's say this is you. You pass on all the deficiency from the light of the Creator through you, that only you're able to do it individually, like a cell in the human body. Only you can pass it on to the others. And that's how each and every one is. And later, that each one is included of everyone. And each one is as Adam Harishon towards others. We all connect together. Meaning, billions of Adam Harishons connect together. That we used to be in a system, that we were all Adam Harishon in the creation. We reach a state that we become the Adam Harishon. It's called times 620. That we have the same intensity as the Creator gave us the opportunity to rise to. We raise it to His degree. Yes?
I wanted to ask, in this sketch, this drawing you just made, once I reach such a state where I'm bestowing to others, do I even have a state of darkness, or that it ends?
No, that's called day, that is entirely light.
Well, then, how do I feel then when I feel darkness?
How does the Creator feel when you feel darkness? What is he, sorry or happy?
I don't know. How does he feel with this? How does it look?
You have to ask yourself, what do you think?
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. If, I don't know, if the Creator is good and benevolent, then He wants good for me. And if I feel bad, then maybe He should feel bad about it.
Yes, and then what can you do? What, He'll make it even, he'll put you in an even worse state so that you'll reach goodness. And then He'll be happy that you're suffering even more because you have a better chance of reaching goodness.
Well, I get your answer, but the problem is that your answer brings me to like a tragedies. We have such horrible things in this world, these tragedies. He also does that, so people will finally come to correction. These are people who are even incapable of understanding what good is out of all the darkness they're in.
Okay, good. So we're not talking about the end of creation and the beginning of creation, but we're talking about the process. What does it mean, good or bad, towards a person, towards what he feels? It depends how a person feels what he's going through, meaning how tied he is to the goal. If a person is completely unconnected to the goal, he doesn't know about it, just like you're saying. The entire world is suffering, and the world doesn't know why or what it's suffering for, then he can say that what it's suffering comes to him from the Creator. But he's just saying that. He doesn't discover that. He can't. If a person begins to work on himself in order to change his nature, then he has this inner split. On the one hand, he begins to tie himself to the Creator through his point in the heart, and on the other point, on the other side, from his will to receive. So a person is like connected through two. This is the will to receive, this is his ego, and here is a point in the heart. From the point in the heart, he wants to connect to the Creator. And with his ego, he's here, in this world. Right? So now, the question is, what does he identify himself with? Sometimes he comes to the environment and it influences the greatness of the Creator. So he connects to the Creator and he says, I don't care what I feel in the will to receive. Let it suffer. That's the influence of the environment. Sometimes the environment doesn't influence him, so he identifies himself with the will to receive. I don't care, the Creator, He's evil, He's not bestowing to me. He's just immersed in His will to receive. And then for him always, light and dark, they change. They change with their definition. So we're prohibited to say just about a person that that's what he's going through. Each person towards himself, that's how he discovers it. Also the Creator towards a person. Creator, Boreh, is called the Bo-Ure, come and see. That Bo in Hebrew is also in him, or with an Aleph it's Bo, come, and Re is see and reveal it. That we discover the Creator in us. So the Boreh, Bo-Ure is what I reveal within me, just like everything I actually perceive in me. Then to the extent that I can advance to be like Him, to resemble Him, then for me that's light. Although I might go through unpleasant states. Just like, children's diseases. They cry a lot until they grow kids. But if I know that my goal is to eventually reach Him, then each and every state I begin to justify it. And then I go through these stages just like someone who is sick, who is having an operation. He goes for it, he understands it's for his benefit. So then what happens is he's already living in the good result, which is called day.
Well, then maybe I want to ask a more general question. Why do we even need such a process of light and darkness? You drew an ego and a point in the heart here. I think it's enough that we understand once and for all that we have a point in the heart. I've done this thing one time. Why do I have to do this again and again? Rise to light, fall to darkness, again and again.
We're included from these two parts in order for us to have freedom of choice. So, my ego, that's one will to receive. And correspondingly, there's the point in the heart, as it's called, the godly part from above. That's the other part. So if I have two, I have the difference between them, and as a result, I'll have a choice. What do I want to be in? How do I want to advance? This freedom of choice eventually is realized in the environment. That if I want, through my freedom of choice, to increase the influence of the environment on me, to increase the point in the heart, to increase the godly part from above in me, then the entire choice is choosing the environment. And if I don't depend on these two things, the will to receive and on the soul, or the will to receive, the points in the heart, then I won't have anything to choose from. I'm always in this split, this or that, under the will to receive, no, to bestow. Friends are more important, no, I'm more important, and so on. That's how I always check. And until I influence enough forces into the environment, and the environment influences me to such an extent that this part, just like in a pendulum, becomes heavier, and then I begin to connect to the Creator, and my will to receive doesn't disturb me anymore. To such an extent that I become a servant to the point in the heart. That's already receiving in order to bestow. So without being included of these two parts, and without doing this transition from one to the other, and choosing what is light for me and what is darkness, that bestowal is light, love of the others, and that ego and self-benefit, that's darkness, because that pushes me away from the Creator, and that's actually the only examination. And all of that I do by the environment, which increases these values in me. Without that, we won't reach the complete state. Because this final complete state, which is called day that is entirely light, is day that's entirely light, that the ego, the will to receive, also turn into light. And then darkness will shine as the day, as the light. And then I reach a state that in my entire nature I become bestowing. So there's this inversion in this process, a very big process. But also at the end of this process, I'm still in my will to receive, opposite from the Creator, although in my will to bestow, I'm similar to Him. And that gives me protection from the Creator, a masach, a screen. That means that I'm not nullified towards Him, but I'm independent. And that's what He wants, as it says, my sons have beaten me. That we'll reach that state, that our light will be like His light, our day will be like His day, but we're independent, and we did this independently. It's a very special state, process, because many contradicting things have to connect together. Yes?
There are many questions on the internet here on this topic. Moshe from Tel Aviv is asking, what am I supposed to do when I know the darkness is towards my egoism, but it overcomes me and it just silences me?
I agree with him 100%, that it's true. I'm happy that he's finally reached a decision that he can't overcome it. That's a true decision. That's a true discernment. A person can't overcome a gram of his ego. You can have a ton of strength, but alone you won't be able to overcome even 1 gram of the ego. Because these grams that are scrutinized within us, they're just like new from a deeper coarseness, from a greater, from a dirtier coarseness, and we're not able to overcome them. Therefore, it's not on you to finish the work, and you're not free to get rid of it, but you only have to request for strength. A person never has the strength to overcome. If he found strength to overcome, that's a sign that he hasn't advanced. It's a sign that it wasn't a new force. He didn't correct it yet. The correction is only by discovering I'm not capable, and I cry out and shout help, and then I get strength to overcome that desire, and then I can rise above that desire to a higher degree. That's called that I enter darkness. From this darkness I cry. I receive light to beat the darkness, and then from this darkness I turn it into day. That every day is this night that was turned into day.
Khalil from Ostov is asking, what if I can't differentiate between light and dark?
That's a sign that you still haven't begun to work with the environment, with the group, with dissemination. Although I've already heard that name, I don't know the person, but I've heard that name. You need to start working in the environment, in the bestowal, in dissemination, because our entire evil is by discovering that we don't want the environment. We treat it with disregard. We want no connection with this system. I don't want to bestow them. I want to know them. I don't want to be connected to them. With the Creator, I'm willing to connect. With Him, I'm willing to, because by connecting to Him, I receive light and goodness. But bestowing to others, connecting to them, that I don't agree. So all of our examinations, our advancement, is to what extent we identify our type of connection to others. And here it's not important. Either good or bad, I reject others, I'm attracted to others, they're pulling me to them, they're rejecting me from them, doesn't matter. The most important thing is to be in that examination, in that type of examination.
A final question from this topic. Gilifa Monana is asking, if darkness by me is light from the Creator, am I supposed to be happy from this, that I feel bad?
No. No. It's not possible that the Creator is feeling good if a person is suffering. Because the phrase love doesn't even allow us to say that. The Creator only receives enjoyment if man receives enjoyment. Although sometimes we say that, for example, here in the point in the heart, I feel that I'm advancing, I feel that good. In my will to receive, in the meantime, I feel that as bad. The question is, what am I identified with this or with that? If I identify myself as good while I advance, even though my will to receive is suffering, I feel myself as righteous. I justify the Creator who allows me to discover bad in the will to receive, and by that I can raise myself to Him. We always need to see how we can identify with this godly part from above, with the Creator, and the environment is the means to reach this.
When a person is in darkness, he cannot see a meter in front of him, a foot, just darkness. I think in the preface to the Wisdom of Kabbalah, it's even written quite nicely. It says, like the light of the sun, which you cannot look at directly, other than through a tinted glass, which diminishes its light and matches it to the ability of your eye. So what is this vessel, this tool that you can use to see the light? And before I begin building with vessel and such.
If I take glass, and by this glass I can decrease the light purposely, and I suit it to my sight, then I can see it. So the entire problem is to take from the Creator the management of the connection between us, to restrict it. I don't want to see Him, I don't want any favors, I don't want anything. I want to be with you, just like in the example of the host and guest. You for me and me for you, equally. And if I agree to this and I go on this kind of relationship, then I already suit my eyesight, my perceptors, to something that I can already give back to Him. And in that we are always equal. And this equality gives a person the feeling of independence, that he's independent from the Creator on the one hand. On the other hand, he becomes just like the Creator in him. He sees the Creator as an example. He wants to be like Him, to influence, to bestow like Him, but he constantly discerns himself from Him. And then he doesn't nullify himself and disappear, just like in the point of semen that disappears in the womb, but it builds himself more and more until they become as partners, as equals. That's what it's called. Zon Datzilut is an equal degree of the illuminations. The illuminations that a person himself becomes as the light. Yes. Why are there people that doesn't matter what I look at them and they're always happy, lively, and with me it doesn't matter why I'm always under stress, I'm always... What does it disturb you?
I don't know. I look at them and I'm very jealous of them. I don't know if you're a good example, but look, there are people I say, I wish that type of thing upon me. I die for that. That guy walks along casually, here back and forth, lightly. He's always joy.
You can't. If you're built differently, then you can't.
So why does one person always seem to be enlightened, other guy in darkness?
That's a question that we haven't brought up. Because as Baal Sulam says, he himself doesn't know why he reached such a state, and why he was given permission to write the interpretation of the book of Zohar, meaning we don't know the sentences of the souls. We'll only know that at the end of correction. And besides, someone has to be like you, someone has to be like him, right? So you are like you are, and he's like he is. There's no answer here. Because the Malchut of Ein Sof, the creature, has been divided into billions of parts, and these billions of parts have to connect themselves. So you're one part of the billion. So you're asking, why aren't I him? There's no such thing. You're you, and you can't be clothed in him. If you were clothed in him, you'd be him. But you are you. So there's no such question. So then he would ask, why am I like that? But each one has whatever he has, and a person has to realize himself. The most important thing is to think that he's facing a goal, his purpose of creation, that he has to reach his personal end of correction and cause the general end of correction for all the souls. So we shouldn't ask about things that we don't know or own. Why did he do that? How? All these things you'll receive answers. You can also receive answers about incarnations, reincarnations, but it won't help you now. Why will it help me? Tell me, I was born with such qualities, in such a family, I got this and that education, later on I got married, I didn't even know what I'm doing at that age. I see that you agree with me. And I got a profession before that. I started working, started going to these different environments, got influenced. Now suddenly, in the middle of life, I ask myself, why am I as I am? What does Baal Sulam say? It doesn't even depend on you. You can ask, what are you able to change? But who are you? You shouldn't even ask about that, because that's the way you are. You're a machine. You have only one freedom of choice. That is what you should realize. So don't look at others. Each one with his own troubles, and each one will have to reach the end of correction. And then whoever has it better off or not so good, God forbid, everyone will have to work. So most important is to think about the realization. I don't know, I was actually never jealous of others. That's what I think.
Even jokes don't make me laugh. Yes, even jokes.
So that's how you're built. I, for example, I like jokes. I sometimes go into the internet. There are jokes there. I'm happy to read them sometimes, yes. Rabash was very happy to hear a joke, a good joke that connects to light and darkness together, and it plays with each other, you know. That things that can't connect suddenly connect. That brings joy. That's a joke. It's not simple. So why not? So we have to make sure that our light and darkness will be just like light and darkness of the Creator. And by that we'll most certainly succeed and advance towards goodness.
We should maybe continue with another passage tying to what you just said. This is also from Shamati. He writes this. There is a parable about a rooster and a bat. They were awaiting the light. The rooster said to the bat, I await the light, for the light is mine. But you, what need have you for the light? Their interpretation is that since the bat has no eyes to see, what does it gain from the sunlight? On the contrary, for one who has no eyes, the sunlight only darkens more.
Yes, well, you have to explain widely about this example, this allegory. It's very special. But what I want to say here, most certainly we can see that even here in our world, we have creatures that they can see better in darkness, just like we see in light. And that depends on nature. So even in the upper roots, it comes as root and branch, the force into our world that makes even those kind of creatures in our world. And a person, when he goes in his life, he should ask himself, am I a bat or a rooster? Because if he uses the Torah in order to fulfill his desires, then it's written that he's like a bat. That the potion of life, which is called the Torah, that has to take him to love and bestowal, as it says, I've created the evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice, because its light reforms. So that very same light becomes as darkness, because he doesn't want that light. He doesn't want to be bestowing. He doesn't want to reach a state that his light will be like the light of the Creators, that his day will be bestowing just like the Creators. Therefore, from the fact that he studies Torah, then he reaches problems. What does that mean, problems? He becomes more egoistic. He demands more. He deserves this world. He deserves the next world. He deserves to have power over others. We can see such examples. And a person who learns this Torah correctly, that he wants to correct his evil, I've created the evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice, then he discovers the evil. But he's not in despair, he's in happiness. That he's happy by discovering the light, the evil. So, just like a person who is sick, who's discovered his disease. Just like Oren says, he was sad, but he didn't feel why he's sad. And now he discovers why he's sad. He discovers what the evil is. So he's only lacking the remedy, the light that reforms. And then he is happy. He learns to reach day that is entirely light. So that's the difference between a rooster and a bat. And hopefully it will be all roosters, and rooster in Gematria in Hebrew is gever, which is man, which also means to overcome. So when someone says to you that you're like a rooster, it's not a bad thing. Let's give our guest.
In the previous article, we spoke about how a person lives according to the sun. One who lives according to the sun, well, here begins his problem. Because the world, when it was created, we had 3 days of light and 3 days of sun. If a person lived corporally according to the sun, and in spirituality he would draw the light, all his problems would end.
What does it mean? In corporeality according to the sun, and in spirituality according to the light? For me it's all the same. What's the difference? I don't count according to my clock if it's light or darkness. I'm talking about light or darkness according to my attitude towards the goal. Meaning, if we're talking about how we need to determine our state in life, then it becomes very simple. I'm in this open space, 360 degrees around me, and not just around, I mean in all different directions. I'm in a sphere, empty, I don't know which direction to go. I have to choose the environment. What is my direction? That's me. And I'm told, only the correct environment, only that can help you reach the goal. The goal. The goal equals the Creator. The environment can help you. So I have to choose the environment. Imagine this. You understand that you have a few directions here? 360 degrees. And only one small split, very, very narrow, that only through that you can reach the Creator. And the Creator here, He's concealed. You don't know about Him, but the environment is here. And if you work with it correctly, then it's certain that you hit the target which is in the distance, in the horizon, even though you can't see it. And then everything is clear. The connection here has to bring you the fact, what is called day, what is light. All these discernments, all these definitions. This is the group, the Creator brought you here, and He said, get along with them. And then through the connection with them, then you determine all of these different values, and then you can advance. So we're not in a state that we don't know what light is, what darkness is, how to advance to what direction. You have things that are very, very defined and clear, and if you delve into them deeper and deeper, then you can discover within them the Creator. You don't have to start jumping around from values, from discernments, from things. That's why it's called love thy friend as thyself. That's a great law in the Torah. It's a law already. It's inclusive, and it includes the entire reality. You can find it all there. Did you find something?
We have another passage from the writings of the Rabash. What is the reason each and every day it is written, there was day, there was night, and there was day? He answers, we should know that there is no day without night, and there is no night without day, and they cannot be separate from one another. As such, it is returning to tell us this each and every day, in order to show that it is impossible that there should ever be the light of day without the precedence of the darkness of night. And such, there cannot be any darkness of night without the following night, light of day, because they will never separate, ever.
That's right, because we start from the very small ego, corporeal ego. What's it got in it? Food, sex, family, money, power, knowledge. It's nothing, these things. We can't emerge to spirituality through that. Like Abraham asked, how will I enter spirituality with this small ego? How will we do that? So he was told, what? Don't worry, you'll go into Egypt. Meaning you'll go into evil. Now say thank you. That's already against our logic. So you go into darkness, the darkness of Egypt. You acquire... you're first in exile, and then until you're included from all the evil, and you can transform all the evil into goodness. That's the first exile. The second exile is even worse, and even better. The third exile is even worse, and even better. And the fourth exile, very, very deep, and according to its length. And then the last rising is called the complete salvation. So we're in these exiles, these 4 exiles. We're here in the end of the last exile, before rising to the day that is entirely light. That this is already the complete revelation, the complete salvation. But you can't rise only on the condition that you've discovered your ego, the evil, and you use the light that reforms. At the end of the exile, that you cry out, that Israel cried out help, and they got sick of the work, and then the light influences you, and then you rise to goodness. Therefore there can't be light without darkness. It all begins from night. There will be evening, there will be morning one day, and that's how we reach night. That's how we reach a day that is entirely light. So it's night and then day and then night again and then day. And here this arrow is the light that reforms. Where do we need this light, this Torah, the true Torah? When we discover the evil. At the end of the exiles, when we discover the evil to such an extent that you can't take it anymore, and then by the light we transform. Now we're in a very big evil, but we still aren't aware of it. And hopefully by the dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah, we won't need to feel it, but we'll only see it. We'll see the darkness, we won't want it, and that will already be enough for us to rise to the light. Understand? We won't enter the darkness, what for? But we'll already begin to rise, and we'll just need to see it from afar. And hopefully in such a way we will rise, and then we'll have truly day.
We have a few minutes left, so let's continue to go over the terms we spoke about, at least for definitions. What is this sensation, if you can tell us, the sensation of day, according to Kabbalah? How do you feel it?
Day is day that is entirely light. Day of bestowal, day of love of the others. Feeling that you are fulfilled with light, with livelihood, and you're unlimited, because to love and bestowal there's no limit, there's no restriction. When a person is in that, he calls it day.
And what is it to feel light?
It means to feel that the ability to bestow is clothed in you, the ability to connect.
So what's the sensation of darkness?
A feeling of darkness is that you know what light is, and you know what bestowal and love is, and you discover that you don't have it now. That it's suddenly a greater quantity of ego is being revealed, and you can't control it. Meaning there's no day without night, and there's no night without day. One corresponding to the other was done by God, and you have to determine one from the other. I can't just say night. How? Where from? According to the discernment of day, then you can call it night. That's what we have to discern.
Okay, and what's the sensation of concealment? You mentioned that. Concealment of face.
It's also concealment. It depends what I'm talking about. Concealment of face is called that the Creator is concealed. He's good and benevolent. If I want to bestow, if I'm not prepared to be good and benevolent as He is, then He is revealed. then he's concealed. And by attaining the qualities of bestowal and love, so let's say I've attained it by 10% from him, then to that 10% he's revealed, and then we bestow and we receive and we are in love and bestowal one to the other. And only in such a way I can reveal him. So he can be revealed only in those qualities that are similar to him. That's why one is called Adam, similar to the Creator. So a person is called Adam only to the extent he can be in bestowal and love. And hopefully that will be our day.
Maybe one last thing. We spoke about the rooster and the bat. How can I know in my sensation that I'm a rooster or a bat? Can I identify this in myself?
I sometimes recognize in me that I'm a bat. I want to enjoy darkness. I'll absorb, I'll profit, I'll succeed, without taking anyone else into consideration. That's called a bat. And the opposite, that I suddenly want to bestow and to give and to love others, to resemble the Creator, that's called a rooster.
Well, I guess we should hope we should all be roosters.
That's how it is according to the allegory. That's why he's crying in the morning, he's shouting towards the sunrise, he's enjoying the sunrise.
Well, we've ended another program of Kabbalah for Beginners. Thank you for our audience. Have a great day.